Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Today I'm in Quartzsite, and I'm speaking to a very interesting lady. She's 72 years old, and she was a truck driver for several years. Becky is one of 3 individuals who I interviewed that live in Quartzsite on BLM land during the winter months. In my interviews with Becky and the other 2 nomads, they share how they set up their camps, including kitchens and other amenities, to live long-term in the desert for under $26 a month for rent. They sleep in their rigs and live outside in their campsites. Hello, Becky.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. We're going to try and make this outside portion as quick as possible because first of all, we have a lot of noise, but also it's sunny and I don't want you to get all sunburned. But can you tell my viewers a little bit about yourself? You already told me you've been a nomad now since when?
Since 2018.
And you're in what vehicle?
It's a 95 Chevy G20 short base van.
And did you build it out yourself, or how did you?
No, it officially came with a bench seat in the back, and it converted into a bed. It was becoming too short, and I didn't have enough room to spread out. So I went to a van build in 2019, and they took 2 carpenters, took the bench seat out and built me a platform bed.
And that works for you much better?
Yes. And along with putting in that bed, they put me a little table on the other side. So they built it my way. And it turned out perfect.
So it sounds like what I'm hearing from you is that really one of the most critical things if you're going to live in a vehicle is having somewhere comfortable to sleep.
Yes.
Now, you are kind of experienced at living in vehicles, at least short term, because you were a truck driver. Can you tell my viewers a little bit about that?
Well, when I married my second husband, he was already a experienced truck driver. So right after we got married, I went to a truck driving school over in Paducah, Kentucky. And right before I graduated, he already had us an over-the-road truck driving job. So we teamed up together, and from 1998 to 2003, from East Coast to West Coast.
So you've had a lot of experiences being a nomad prior to doing this now in your van.
Yes.
So what brought you to doing this now? What happened in life that made you decide to do this full time?
I lived in Alabama for 4 years taking care of my dad and my stepmother. So in 2015, I moved from Alabama back to Illinois. And I was fortunate enough to find a 39-foot fifth wheel that was such a good deal. And my daughter and son-in-law had bought that fifth wheel for me to live in an RV park. So I lived in the fifth wheel for 3 years, and it caught on fire. It was not from propane, it was an electrical fire in the furnace. The 3 years that I lived in the RV in the RV park, I was becoming so depressed, I didn't know what to do with myself. And not that I wanted the RV to catch on fire, but being that it did, that gave me a way out of not being in between 4 walls.
So it gave you the push that you needed to do something that you wanted.
Yes. And at that time, I had a small car. And she knew that I was wanting to come down to Arizona through watching Bob Wells' videos on Facebook. And so she said, "Mom, get everything in your car and go to Arizona. There's no reason for you to stay here. So I came to Arizona in a little car in 2018.
But it wasn't your daughter trying to get rid of you. Your daughter knew what your dream was, and you had been talking about it for some time, and she was supportive of you doing something that you wanted to do. It wasn't her trying to get rid of you.
Right.
So, interrupted you. So let's get back on track. So in 2018, after your fifth wheel burned down, you got in your car, packed it up, and came to Arizona. And can you pick up the story from there?
Well, I got into a private women's group on Facebook, and there was a couple of other women my age that I met up with, and we had went to Slab City over in California. And that is not a very good place to be camping, but they wanted to go there. And so 3 of us had taken off and camped 3 nights over there. Then we all 3 split up and went our separate ways. So I headed up to Joshua Tree National Park. I was losing antifreeze in my car, so I just kept driving it. And then when I got out on Interstate 10 East, I pulled into a rest area, and it was even running hotter.
That must have been really frightening out in the middle of nowhere. So what happened then?
Well, I managed to get to a motel, went to talk to the mechanic the next day, and it took him about 3 days to get my car in, even to the shop to look at it. And once he did look at my car, he handed me an estimate of about $1,000 that I could not afford to get my car fixed. So I ended up selling him my car for $600, which gave me enough money for a rental car to get me back to Illinois.
Well, it sounds like, based on your experience, what I'm hearing from you is that it's really critical for people who get out on the road to have some sort of emergency fund.
Yes, because motel, depending on how long you got to stay in motel, it can be expensive. I turned the rental car in and then stayed 3 months with my oldest son in Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
And he put the word out for me that I was looking for a conversion van.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you live strictly on Social Security?
I do.
And do you find that that is really doable in this lifestyle?
Yes. Well, I know how to budget.
Okay.
And for what I get on Social Security alone, I can live on about $300 a month.
I would like to come back and interview you on how you live on $300 a month, because there's so many people now, seniors, who are living on small Social Security checks and are finding it almost impossible to survive. But we'll come back to that maybe in another video. But you have a setup here, and would you mind showing my viewers your setup and how you work it so that you are going to be living here for the next few months?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's do that.